So, as you heard in the clip, how this psychic has completely, without any regard, and I guess there's a whole lot of things I could go into here. If you are a psychic, and let me just say I know a lot of people out there are highly skeptical on this particular topic, but I happen to know a lot about this stuff. I happen to have a few friends that really are. Even they will tell you, you don't do that. When you're dealing with something that is that extreme, no psychic is ever going to be 100%, but you do not give, or you do not even try to make an educated guess upon the status of someone's life. You don't do that. You don't tell people someone is dead. You don't tell people that someone is, even if the situation was reversed, you don't tell them that they're alive. You would not do that. That's a plain and simple ethics. It's a violation of ethics. It's a horrible, absolutely, because whether or not you believe in the topic, in the situation or in the case of psychics, you just don't, like with Sylvia Browne's prediction there, the mother died a year later of heart failure from pancreatitis. The mother went to the grave thinking that something horrible had happened to her child and her child was dead. That's the kind of things that's screwing with people's heads that no one has any business doing. I understand it's a difficult thing for families to deal with when that type of a situation occurs, and that's best left to therapists. But if you are thinking about going to a psychic or something like that, if somebody, number one, they have no business ethically to even say anything like that. They have no business to, and if they are worth any of their salt or their money, they would not comment on that. That's something that they just have no business doing. And Sylvia Browne, with as many years in the career she has, should know better.
Sylvia Browne is a freaking fraud anyway. People like her, like John Edwards, they're just fakes.
Well, I know a few of them that are the real deal, but I can't say I know John Edwards or Sylvia Browne personally.
Right. But you were saying how, and we were discussing this off air, Michael, how it seems like throughout the years you were saying how she has become commercialized, and she supposedly has a church. Now, would you consider her a prophetess, or would you consider her more of a psychic?
Well, I guess
she deals with the Christian side of things. Is that a term that people use interchangeably? Is she more of a psychic or a prophetess? Because I know when you're dealing with the dark side, would it be more of a psychic or would it be more of a prophet type of person? I mean, can you explain that to us?
Okay, she does have a church based in California that is called Novice Spirits. I think from the point of view of her church, I believe that they would look at her as like a prophet, a gifted messenger is how they would look at her from that church's standpoint, because it's her church, she founded it. But the religious basis around her church is more of like a spiritualist church. They have some tenets of their own that they follow, but for the most part it's probably 65-70% Christian-based on their point of view from that. But they tend to refer to her as more of the prophet standpoint.
She's a fake.
But
one of the other questions you asked me is, I used to follow her work years ago, many years ago, back when she was at like the pinnacle of her career, when she had books on the New York Times bestseller list. It seemed like back then she had a real dedication for her work, and she had this real drive and a real connection with what she does. All of a sudden, about the year 2000 or shortly after that, something totally flipped. It's like she was completely disconnected with her work. Something was just totally and completely not right at all with how she had...
And you were telling me how this originally, you saw the flip when she started making regular appearances on the Montel Williams show. Am I correct?
Yes, that was right about the time. I mean, when she first come on there, she would come through as a guest every once in a great while. About the time that she started being a regular on there, I had definitely noticed some kind of a strange change in how she just performed her businesses. Her business transaction was all about how many books that she could write, how many people she could talk to, how much of this or that. And that's when her church, my understanding, about a little bit after 2000, it was when her church really started to pick up, from my understanding of following her stuff. And I quit following anything that she did because it was like the only thing she was concerned about was the next buck or her commercialized status.
And do you think that her, well, some people would call it a so-called ministry, do you think that's when her ministry or her gift really started to slip from her because she lost focus? Do you think that could have been the issue there?
Could be a very, very good assumption as to why, because about the time that her quote-unquote ministry started to really push and take off is about the time that it seemed like she really lost it.
Do you think she kind of went cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, like when she went over the edge? I mean, do you think that it just...
Yeah, I think whatever it is, and I don't know if she's maybe dealing with some onset of dementia or what, but her work has never had a dedication to it like it has since then.
Because she used to be like one of them old grandmamas that'd be like, I think that like you were just telling me, like that was the appeal that drew people to her, because she's like that grandmama that will just, she got them long nails and stuff, and she just seemed like that. She just spit you out a nice piece of pumpkin pie or apple pie.
It's part of her draw. That old grandmotherly, like, come here, sweetie, sit down with me, let's talk.
Baby, yeah.
Yeah, that was part of her likability, was to have that type of, oh, sure, come on over here. Here, let's talk. Let me help you.
Sit on down, baby.
Yeah, that desire to help, somewhere that desire to help got lost. And when it got lost, her work went to hell.
And I think that's so true of just people in general. Like, when they have gifts, they lose focus or insight on the gift that they have. And I think that's when people go astray. Now, I got a question. I want to see what C has to say about this. What do you have to say about the whole situation?
I'll say this. When it comes to Sylvia Browne, no, I really have not. I never knew that she would be on these talk shows and all this kind of stuff, and I've never really seen her do her little thing, whatever. But what gets me is for her to, say this about this girl and she truly didn't know. And my thing is, it's like she said whatever it is that she wanted to say and just get out of the way because she knew deep down inside that she didn't know, period. So she done sat up here and said all this mess and done gave these people false hope and all this kind of stuff, and that is just absolutely absurd. And my thing is that you can't play with a person's life like that. That's just my personal opinions. I truly, and this is just me, I truly do not believe in psychics. I really don't. That's just my opinion, just to put it out there. But I just don't think that, if she truly didn't have an inkling about anything, I just truly believe that she should have not said anything. Right. She should have kept her mouth closed.
This is my thing. That's why these people got to be careful, especially in some of these churches I've seen. And I don't have a problem with people prophesying, but a lot of these people are prophesying. And anytime a pastor is telling you to throw this money, throw it over your shoulder, jump up 3 times, do the split, and then run around the church like a monkey, then you need to really question the validity of that ministry. I've seen some churches where these churches, they handing out bread and telling you to go put it on some water. I said, first of all, you should be handing out that bread to them people and put some meat on that sandwich and feed them people and tell them instead of wasting that bread. What's wrong with you?
That's right.
And, you know, part of what I do is, you know, Seneca does advertise my website, Sunrise Humanity, which deals with Reiki education and metaphysical practices. You know, I would be an expert in metaphysical practices and holistic healing things, so I'm quite well versed in these different aspects. And there's this thing called ethics. You know, I will give Sylvia Browne at least a little bit of interest in it, the fact that she said, you know, referred to the guy possibly being Cuban and she was in the house or under the house. That's really nice. But stop before you tell people that someone is dead. That's just bad ethics. You don't do that.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Mm-hmm.
Because one thing about this, man cannot give life. So, you know, who is that we just talk about, you know, about death. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, it's just like, it's a subject that, like you said, Michael, I just think it's something ethically that people need. Some things we as humans need to just lay off of. And I think those are two things, regardless of what your opinion is or what your belief is, I agree with you. I think that's just something that just should be off limits.
Yeah, and I know of the psychic people that I am very personally good friends with. I have watched one of them to at least half a dozen people bring closure to some instances and have seen them really do remarkable things. But ethics is always a play, and they would never tell somebody something like that. Never would.
You know, I think, you know, that, you know, if she got up there and said all that and, you know, like if she truly knew that she didn't know anything, you know, she just should have said, well, you know, I'm not sure about that. You know, and I totally agree with what y'all saying. You know, you don't get up there and you don't predict something like that. And then something that you said, Seneca, or I don't know who said it, but the fact of the matter is that it was sad that her mother had to go to her grave with that on her mind. And my thing is that, you know, was it the fact that Sylvia had said that she would see her daughter in heaven that actually caused her heart problem? You know what I mean? You know,
and I agree with, because you know, looking at it from a holistic healing point, I'm sitting here going, oh my God, she just set the mother up for some really bad stuff.
Yeah, right.
You don't know if you don't know if that woman could have grieved to death. I know she had like another, but you don't know if that grief could have made that sickness worse to where she could have probably.
That's right.
Right, because we all know of people that it seems like, especially in some of the elderly classifications, where people they quit fighting. They lose that will to keep pushing. You know, another thing along those very same lines is years ago in Seneca, I even forgot to discuss this with you the other day. I had seen Sylvia Browne, if you want to call it in concert, I guess, live, for lack of a better term, live a number of years ago. And this, when I seen her live, was one of the things that made me say, I'm not going to do this anymore. I'm not going to follow her stuff. She's lost her mind. And it was in Cincinnati, Ohio. And I drove over there to see a talk that she was giving. And they draw kind of like a lottery, people's ticket numbers out, and a certain number of people could come up and ask questions. And one woman had went up there. I remember it was a young woman, probably in her early to mid-20s. And she said, what's in store for the future of my health? I've just been recently diagnosed as HIV positive.
Oh, God, Lord Jesus.
And Sylvia Browne said, there will be a cure in your lifetime. She said, you will never get to a point, as long as you do what the doctors tell you, you will never get to a point where you become full-blown, where you become with full-blown AIDS. She said, you will never have that. She said, as a matter of fact, she said, you will be the subject of treatments that are a new protease inhibitors, or she referred to some new thing. She said, you need to follow a full protein diet to assist your cells in the building of things. And I'm sitting here going, lady, you're not a freaking doctor. This is nuts. You don't tell people that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I walked out of there going, this ain't right.
Mm-hmm.
And that, at that point is when I lost a lot of respect for her. And then in conjunction with every time she had a new book come out, I'd be in a bookstore, I'd pick it up and flip through the pages, and I quit buying them. I'd pick them up and flip through the pages and be like, this is ridiculous. And I'm a person that has followed metaphysical things for years. I'm going to be 35 pretty soon, and I've followed this stuff since I was 19. And I could tell back then she lost it. If you write a book, and whatever your theme of the book is, you would think that, you're going to follow the continuity of getting to the point. So many of her books would restate, like, a whole chapter from something she's already covered in another book. And even sometimes in the book she says, yes, my publisher doesn't want me to recap a whole lot from other things, but I feel it's necessary. And I'm sitting here going, how many ways and in how many books can you retell the same story?
So pretty much she's recycling pretty much what you say.
Yeah, I mean, she'll take a topic, and what could have been made as a supermarket handout has now turned into a whole freaking book of like 250 pages, roughly, I'm guessing, some more, some less, of rehashing things and not really getting to what she's supposedly getting to.
So you saying it's almost like someone taking some damn ham, holiday ham, and making a ham salad, corned beef, hamburger, ham and bologna, ham and cheese.
Yeah, ham's done turned up as ham salad 2 weeks later. We're just not talking about, I broke up with my boyfriend, was it the right decision? No, we're talking about something that influences, whether somebody's dead or alive and how people are going to cope with that. And let's say that she was right. Let's say if she had predicted, she knocked the whole thing out of the park. Okay. Here's another problem I have with how she put it. Oh, he's dead, honey. Oh, God, I really hate it when they're around water. Really? Clean that shit up. You just told somebody's family that somebody's dead? Seriously, clean that. Oh, honey, she's dead. No, I think there's a better way to say that.
Absolutely. And, and I just want to say this, and I'll give you a perfect example. There is a lady that actually goes to one of these churches that my church fellowships with, and she has seizures all the time. And she was in the hospital, and so she had fell into a coma. And so I kid you not, there were so many doctors and so many chaplains, and so they were up there. And her two children had came up there. And so it was a couple of the members that were in the room, and it was the children, and it was the chaplain, and it was one other person, and I cannot think of who this person was. And, people fail to realize that, when you're in a coma, you can still hear. You can't talk, but you can hear. And they said, the daughter who was, I believe she was 16, she said, is my mother gone? And that person said, yes, honey, she is gone. Now, my thing is why are you going to tell this girl that she's gone, but this woman is still steady breathing? Why are you going to tell her that she's gone? And I kid you not, when the woman got out of the coma, she looked, for whatever reason, this individual had walked in the room and could not believe that she was sitting up, talking and eating and everything. And that woman looked at her and said, I heard what you said to my daughter. So my thing is, yes, she said, I heard what you said to my daughter. And she said, by the grace of God, I'm still here. And that right there showed that this woman done sat up here and done told this daughter that her mother was gone when, in fact, she wasn't. So I use that to say that if you don't know what you're talking about, keep your mouth closed. If you don't know,
right.
Keep it shut, yes.
So what, and like I said, death, like they said, the power of life and death lies in the tongue. And you can destroy people with your words.
Yes,
you can cause people, you know what I'm saying? And for you to sit there and say that you don't know what you could have had, your girl could have, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
That girl could have went on and just gave up because of what
right.
that person, you know what I'm saying, what they said. You just got to be careful what you say to people.
And to me, it wasn't even, for me, someone that's in a holistic practice and being familiar with things like this, it's not the fact that it was wrong, it's the fact of her ethics.
Yeah.
And that her ethics and how she handled it, even if she had been right 100%, I still would not have agreed with how she handled her ethics.
Mm-hmm. And that right there causes a lot of problems because, when you were talking about how you had went to her little concert thing or whatever, and, and the woman went up there and was talking about the HIV and all that kind of stuff. Now, my thing is, what if the woman went into full-blown AIDS? What if she did? Now, I don't know if she did or not, but what if she did? Then my thing is that she probably would be going out there trying to put a contract out on her saying, you done set up here and you done told me this and, now this is going on with me. You know what I mean? So you're absolutely right.
And check this out, too. Have you thought about this? What if this woman, what if a whole lot of people just start coming out on her and say, hey, yeah, you said this, but this happened.
Yes, Lord.
You said my head would fall out, but disaster.
Well, there is actually a website out there that is dedicated to all things against Sylvia Browne.
Like StopSylviaBrowne.com.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, StopSylviaBrowne.com, I think is the website. Don't quote me on it, but I think that's what it is.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. And there's this guy out there that has tried to challenge her to a scientific showdown, if you want to call it, where they take, and there actually is in the areas of psychiatry or psychology, there really is a method of testing people's paranormal abilities. That does exist.
He was gonna give her a free read.
Yeah, and she won't take it.
You gonna give her a free read?
You got it.
There are a lot of people out here that that will do those things like Sylvia Browne do just for the sake of getting money. Like I've seen a lot of these shows and stuff on TV, where they say, well, if you buy this healing cloth, then you put it on the area, where you're hurting, then you're going to be healed. The issue that I have with that, and I know that it seems like I kind of went from one thing to another, but the issue that I have with that, with those kind of things is you have these people investing in something in this cloth that
yourself ain't no little good.
That's right. That's right. And so then they put it on their aching knee or they twisted ankle, and nothing happens, and it's just nothing but a piece of cloth that they done set up here, and then gave these people $300 for a freaking piece of cloth that don't amount to nothing but a dish rag, you know?
Now, you know, that is part of actually getting into that fine line of how you actually prosecute someone for fraud under those cases. It really is. There is a total way to prosecute someone for fraud as a psychic. Good example I seen, there was a psychic here in my neighborhood that had opened up a shop. And I thought, well, that's kind of neat. Hey, I'm a Reiki practitioner. I'm a metaphysical practitioner. Why don't I go over and say hi? So I went over there, and I thought, okay, well, I'll get one of her readings just to say. She told me I had all kinds of things wrong with me, and that if I wanted to be healed, and I would give her $90, the only way to heal what was wrong with me was if I gave her $90 to buy a special candle, and I had to pray and meditate over this candle 3 times a day, and I'd be healed.
I'll tell you what, the Lord didn't tell me to pray over no candle.
I looked at her and I said, sweetheart, I said, sweetheart, that's fraud. I said, you're not going to last very long in this town, honey. That's fraud.
Let me give you a free read, boo-boo. Yeah. That's fraud.
Right.
And you know what? Within 2 weeks later, she was out of town. Go figure. But yeah, you know, I sit there and I let her go through her spiel. She come up with all this list of things that were wrong with me, and I'm sitting there going, boy, isn't that kind of interesting? And I just sit there and listen to her, and she's telling me about, you know, this and that, like, your aura is cracked in 3 places, and it is so severely damaged, you need such spiritual help. I'm sitting here going, lady, I base my whole practice on spiritual help. I think I got it covered. Not saying I'm perfect by any means, but I'm pretty sure I'm not effed up. And I just sit there and listened to her, and then when she said, but you can fix that, and here's the only way you can fix it. Oh, what's that?
Let me ask this, though. Do you think that certain people are gifted, but they exploit their gift? I mean, they may be the real thing, but they exploit it.
I would really want to think that if someone was truly gifted like that and truly had that kind of gift, I'm sure there's probably could be some exploitation there. But if you were truly gifted in that sense and you had the compassion that comes with that gift, you wouldn't be doing that to people.
Yeah.
Because it was very clearly that I had this great big problem, all these multiple problems going on, and this great big illness that she said, and the only way for me to solve it is if I give her $90 for a candle. And then have to come back for possibly another one, which possibly would be more expensive. And I'm like, sweetheart, that's legal fraud right there.
And the sad part about it is...
You said that, what'd she say?
She goes, well, I disagree. I said, no, in the eyes of the law, that's fraud. By the way, let me tell you what I do for a living so I can prove it to you. She asked me to leave after.
Oh, Lord.
If you go to one and they're telling you that you're sick or you have some medical problem or you have some type of curse, that's another popular one. Somebody will say, you've been cursed, and here's the only way that you can get rid of this curse. And you have to pay me this absorbent amount of money to get rid of this curse because I'm the only one that can do that.
Jabuti oil to put on your scalp.
Yeah.
Put Jabuti oil on your... Yeah.
I am the only one that can heal your illness. I am the only one that can heal your curse. I am the only one that can do this, and you have to pay me an exorbitant amount of money. Ladies and gentlemen, that's fraud. Leave.
The only one, really?
Yeah, that is fraud. Leave.
We need to do a song. How do you know the phony?
Yeah, You know, the people that I have seen, well, number one, the really true trustworthy psychics that I have personally known, actually, they've never charged a dime. Now, I'm not against someone that truly is gifted making a living at it. I'm not against that. But still, ethics, you know, and being a holistic practitioner myself, I would never tell someone that they've got this horrible illness and here's how you have to do it, and I'm the only one that can do it. Hell no. If they tell me they've got a horrible illness, I'm going to be like, talk to your doctor.
You must put that booty oil on your badonk. That's just a bad case of dermatitis. You just need to put some damn lotion on your butt.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just sick of these people. They just really think, and this is what I'm saying, these people just need to give up all this craziness. Because like, I was watching this documentary on the gangland, called Gangland. I was talking about this Haitian gang that has, you know, they were talking about different gangs on different shows. They were talking about this Haitian gang that that a lot of people immigrated from Haiti to Miami. And they were just talking about how a lot of these people still believe in that voodoo and hoodoo and all that mess. And they said a lot of times these people are so superstitious and believing that stuff that it's almost being used to the advantage of law enforcement, because these people go to these witch doctors and they will tell them everything. Tell them everything, and they won't touch you. So they go in there and make a full confession, and they think that the hoodoo and voodoo and boo-boo dolls and gods are going to protect them. And then they go in here and make this confession, and they sitting in prison right now.
Right.
You're going to pay them all this money for them to throw some chicken bones on the ground. Some chicken bones from Church's Chicken that they just finished eating. Them lips is greasy, hands is greasy, and they still licking that beat out the back of their damn mouth, telling you to go tell the police. And they sitting here full as hell, and your ass about to go starving in jail. You done told them all your business.
You know why that is? Because the person sucking on that chicken would say, "Get the hell up out of here, away from me."
They can't touch you. Well, you go ahead and tell them. They're gonna touch you. Somebody gonna reach out and touch you and put you in some handcuffs. How about that?
Yeah.
That's right.